Let's talk about gold a little bit.
Yeah, Trey has become one of our favorite guests in a very short period of time. He is the CEO and director, Dryden Gold Corporation. Their ticker symbol is DRY as in yellow gold, DRYGF. He's back with us here on the Big Biz Show. Trey, top of the morning to you, sir.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing, Sully? Hey,
good to see you, man.
Everybody there.
Hey, it's so is it safe to say now that the argument is over that gold is the hedge against inflation? I mean, it's been the argument for a long time, but then there's always the naysayers about that. And I'll tell you, if you want to do a time test, look at what's happened post-COVID, and look at what's happened post. We had too many. What do they call them when they shoved out all that money into the market?
Stimulus?
Yeah, we had too much stimulus. And
stimulus checks.
Trey was the one who told us going back to 1941, every time you see that much money flow into the market, you're going to see interest rates go up, and of course. Talk about inflation. Talk about that just for a little bit, about the hedge part of this thing.
Well, look, it's important to note the differences in inflation, the way that word is used, Sully, is, you have inflation at the pump, inflation at the grocery store. That's the inflation we all feel, on a daily basis. But the real meaning of inflation is when you print money.
Yes.
And, when you are handing out stimulus checks and when you're running budget deficits, I want to say we are currently running about a $6 billion deficit every day in this country now. And that's before this little skirmish or whatever we want to call it in Iran, which is, of course, but so when you're printing that money, that's when gold becomes more valuable.
So here's my question. With respect to the world events, and let's go back to Mexico, because if you look at the U.S., U.S. could be completely independent between Canada and U.S. and Mexico. We're pretty damn close to it. But that's a whole other argument. Let's talk about the world events on what it's actually going to do to the pump in terms of commodities, because gold is impervious to this, right? If you think in terms of world events, let's talk about that for a minute, because paying for groceries and paying for gas is like paying a tax. Okay, suddenly we're smacked. Can't we turn right to gold as another commodity to resolve that problem?
Certainly, but there's two ways you invest in gold. You invest in gold by buying the physical metal or the ETFs, that type of thing, or the mining stocks themselves have also been had a very good run the last couple of years, and they've been in a great position because they're the mining companies that are mining the gold. Their biggest expense is tied to the price of oil, diesel generally.
Right.
So, it depends there. I mean, what's going on is very difficult. I mean, I don't think, this doesn't look like it's just going to end well. And, we're claiming victory at least 3 or 4 times a day. But
that's true.
Well, listen, what I'm suggesting is 3 or 4 more times. And, and meanwhile, the Iranians seem to never run out of missiles. I think that's the real reason for actually, that's the imminent threat was that if we'd let them continue to produce missiles at the rate they were doing it, missiles and drones, nobody would have stopped them, and they'd have taken over the whole Middle East. So I won't get into that side of the politics, but I think oil prices are still not discounting.
Well, but my point there in comparing oil evenly with gold is that, look, when you think commodities for normal investors, those are really the two. You can look at exchange traded funds for the two and find them easily. But my argument here isn't gold more than one safe place to hide? You should have in your portfolio anyway. It's a hedge against inflation, but it's also a safety net or first line defense when you see oil prices coming right at you, right?
Well, that's exactly right. And, of course, all the deficits that we're adding with, and luckily for the U.S., I mean, the one thing we have going for us is that we are, pretty much energy independent these days. But I'm here in Zurich, Switzerland today. Got in this morning.
Wow.
You're
in the right place for the gold business.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here where most of that gold is actually stored. That physical stuff. So, look, I think that, on a long-term basis, and I think over the near term, you're seeing volatility in all of the markets. You're seeing a lack of liquidity in markets. Who'd have thought that, you have oil prices go over $100 and yet the stock market still seem to want to go up. They're still buying the dips there. So everything's kind of on its head right now, Sully, and I think the bottom line is we're still running these huge deficits. We're having to print our way out of it, and that will, over the years. I mean, the dollar over the last 40 years has lost 90% of its purchasing power when you compare it to the price of gold. So, on a long-term basis, you just always want to have a big part of your portfolio. And again, we've seen this change in the last year, where the institutions are getting much more involved, and you now have, Morgan Stanley telling their investors to move from the 60 stocks, 40 bonds to 60 stocks, 20 bonds, and 20% gold. 20% allocation. If people really got excited and everyone took their advice and went to 20% gold, gold would be significantly higher than it is today. But over the long run, there's just nothing that better than gold when you have fiat currencies that print money as they need it.
Trey Wasser is the CEO Director of Dryden Gold Corporation. Ticker symbol is DRYGF. Trey, I really misunderstood my financial guy. I bought gold chocolate bars, and I am screwed. But I'll try to rebound from that. Hey, give people just a brief overview of what you've got going on and what Dryden is all about.
So Dryden is an early-stage exploration company. We've got a very significant project up in Northwest Ontario, and one of the second, what's now rated as the second best jurisdiction for gold mining in the world. And we're in a very high-grade gold district that's been underexplored for many years. We've put together a large strategic property package, and we're finding gold literally all over. We have 80,000 hectares, and we just came out with a soil report that showed gold everywhere on the property.
Wow.
The trip out there, mainly business, or are you just going to go roll around in all the gold you guys have brought over?
No, this is one of the big gold shows out here. The Swiss Mining Institute puts it on, and all the institutional and family offices from Germany, Switzerland, they even let some Italians in here. And
he's referring to me.
Yeah, it's easy, Sully, going after you.
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, Trey, have a great trip there. We'll talk to you next week. Got to get you in studio. The problem is he knows if he comes to San Diego, we won't let him leave.
Oh, I know. Trey Wasser, CEO Director, Dryden Gold Corp, ticker symbol DRYGF.